A 3-year-old little girl went missing from her home on May 4th, 2017. A surveillance video would be found of a man carrying her body to a field behind a factory in Cape Town, a port city in South Africa. You won't believe what this monster did to this little girl's body both before and after her death. Hello, my name is Holly. Welcome to the Murder She Shed, the place we discuss rarely told true crime right from my little she shed. Make sure you smash the subscribe button to keep up with my channel. I said in January my goal was to hit 10,000 subs this year, and we have a little over 4,000 to go. Thank you to my most loyal that have helped me get this far, and thank you to the viewers that are hopefully hitting the subscribe button right now. Come on, help a Southern girl out. I mean, you get to hear rarely heard true crime and visit my Murder She Shed, so why not? You're always welcome here. Come on in. Let's get started. But first, I have to say viewer discretion is advised because this case does involve murder and essay of a child. And it's pretty rough. Juanita Pieters lived in a house with her boyfriend, Aaron Foray. Aaron's sister owned the house that they lived in and also owned a house behind the house where Juanita and Aaron lived. And she lived there. The couple have been together for 20 years and have 4 children, a 21-year-old, 16, 7, and 3-year-old. 3-year-old's name was Courtney Pieters. Courtney was the baby of the family and usually very shy around strangers. She was a big mama's girl, and once you got to know her, though, she could be funny and energetic. She's always been seen waiting for mama to get off work so they could go hang out and do things together. She just enjoyed her family. She enjoyed life at 3 years old. And one man who her parents thought they could trust would take her life and brutally end it. There were several of the children that lived at home. And I'm not sure. I think the 16-year-old still lived at home. And the 7-year-old, of course, Adrian, the brother, lived at home. And, of course, Courtney, the 3-year-old. So this whole family lived upstairs in this home. Aaron had a childhood friend named Mortimer Saunders, who often slept over and drank at the house. They were friends. They hung out together. So eventually Aaron said, why don't you just move in with us? You can rent out the room downstairs. And hey, when we're not busy, we can hang out. So in 2014 or around 2015, Mortimer Saunders moved in. He was called Morty by friends and family and was known as a quiet man who just loved children. He could be seen around town buying children sweets and chips. He had a daughter of his own who would often come over and play with 3-year-old Courtney. Courtney and her brother Adrian called Morty Uncle even. He worked at a call center and it was said people were attracted to him, that he had a really good personality. And he was just one of those individuals that people were just drawn to. He was even more trusted because Morty's father was a priest. Morty and Unita often bickered, though. Morty would often cause fights between Unita and Aaron, and he took advantage of the couple's kindness. Morty stayed in a small bottom floor room with only a TV and a bed in the room, as it was the only TV in the home. Little 3-year-old Courtney would sometimes go downstairs and watch TV with Morty and his daughter. Morty's daughter would only visit him because she lived with her mom, so she only came for visits sometimes. Aaron worked at a factory and Unita worked as a cleaner at the Hungry Lion, a restaurant that specializes in fried chicken. Unita would also wash Marty's clothes for extra income. On the morning of May 4th, 2017, Unita woke up and prepared herself for work. At the time, she was still breastfeeding Courtney. When Courtney woke up, she breastfed her and prepared porridge for her and Courtney's brother, too. Although she usually had a babysitter for the children, she was short on money and decided just to leave the children home that day. Before she left for work, she gave her 2 children some kisses and told them goodbye and she loved them. Marcia, Courtney's cousin, said she would keep an eye on the children that day. She lived with Aaron's sister in the house behind Courtney's house. So there was a big group of family that lived back there too. When Unita left, Marcia was asleep with her young baby still. After waking, Marcia went and asked Courtney's brother, Adrian, where in the world was Courtney at? Because she couldn't find her. He said Courtney was watching TV. She returned her home in the backyard because her baby was still sleeping and she just wasn't worried. After tidying up, she went back to the main house at about 9. She asked Morty in front of his bedroom door if Courtney was still watching TV. Morty responded that Courtney had left and that he didn't have any idea where she had gone. Marcia sent Adrian to neighboring homes to see if Courtney was playing there, and she was not found. Marcia thought, well, maybe Unita had taken Courtney to work with her. She didn't tell her she had, but maybe she just, Courtney insisted on going with her mom since she's such a mama's girl that she had actually taken her. So she still wasn't that worried. While Marcia was hanging the laundry out to dry, Morty came out of his room. Her infant started to cry, and Morty picked him up, soothed him, and asked why he was so naughty that day. When she was done with the washing, she took her baby, and Marty returned to his room. She walked back to the main house at 2 that afternoon and noticed Morty's bedroom door was actually bolted shut. Marcia then walked to the post office, and Adrian was playing outside when she left. When she returned from the post office, Morty informed her that he had went to the library and had also walked around to look for Courtney while she was gone. When Unita returned from work that evening, her son informed her that he had not seen Courtney for most of the day. She frantically started asking neighbors if they had seen Courtney, and no one admitted to seeing her ever that day. Marcia told Unita that she had not seen her for most of the day and actually thought that Courtney might have been with her. The police were then called and the search began. For 9 days, Morty joined the family, friends, and officers as they searched, consoling Unita and Aaron, and he even attended prayer meetings with them. They searched in trash bins, in sheds, near the river, all over to no avail. A missing persons poster was handed out with a picture of Courtney that was actually taken when Courtney had been laying in Morty's bed watching TV. Morty had supplied the photo from his phone. Finally, 9 days into the hunt for Courtney, one woman veered away from the search party, walked through a thorny field, and then along a factory fence. Finally found her hid by branches that had been thrown on her little body. The woman said her jeans were open and the zipper was down. The jeans were pulled down to her feet, and she had no shoes on her feet. After finding Courtney's body, officers then looked at CCTV video footage and found her killer carrying Courtney's body to the spot that she was found. But they were still not sure who the suspect was. They had no idea from the video who the man was that was carrying her.
We first catch up with Mortimer on May 4th, 2017 at this busy intersection in Epping, a few hundred meters from their home. Saunders is carrying what appears to be a big plastic bag over his shoulder. We now know that is Courtney Pieters' body inside the bag. He casually walks past workers and cars during a busy workday in the area. He follows this path, taking a turn into this open field in between two buildings. He takes another right shortly after, and we see him on camera here, seemingly struggling with the weight of the body. He removes Pieters from the bag and carries her over to the other side of the tracks, where he leaves her hidden under newspapers and packaging. He cleans up the area and then vacates, holding his head in his hands as he leaves.
As they had no idea who the suspect could be, they called Unita in to view the video to see if she recognized her daughter's killer. Unita knew it was Morty when she saw the video, but lied and said she didn't know who it was because she could not believe that such a decent, quiet, and well-behaved person who loved children, especially her daughter Courtney, could do something like that. A neighbor of the family was the first one to identify Morty on the footage, as she recognized his walk. He had a unique walk, she said, and she knew that was Morty. Unita then realized she needed to tell the truth, as he could have possibly been the killer. Morty was brought in for a police interview and shown the video of himself disposing of Courtney's body. Morty stated he woke up on May 4th to go to the bathroom and noticed that Adrian and Courtney were still sleeping. 15 minutes after he returned back to his bed, he stated Courtney appeared at his bedroom door asking to watch the TV. He said he let her stay for a few minutes, but then told her to leave as he was still tired and wanted to go back to sleep. Courtney left, but returned about 30 minutes later. He stated this irritated him as he was still tired and was upset because Unita left the children at the house. Then, I don't know how you would just suddenly remember this, but he remembered he had ant poison. And his solution was, why not use it on Courtney? Doesn't sound like it's a spur-of-the-moment thing to me. He said he had bought the ant poison about 8 months ago to help with an ant problem he had in his room and just decided to give it to Courtney. It was in powder form, so he mixed it with water. He stated he only wanted to make her sick since he was so mad at Unita. Initially, she did not want to drink it, but on telling her to do so, she did. She started coughing, and some of the mixture settled on her face, hair, and clothing. He said this is when Marcia started calling out Courtney's name, and she attempted to respond, so he panicked. He said to stop Courtney from screaming, he popped her on the forehead with his open hand. He closed her mouth with a towel and choked her by putting his hand around her throat. Her body became limp, and he placed her on a duvet in the corner of his room. He then stated he left the room and returned 10 minutes later and found Courtney's lips were blue and her body lifeless. It also looked as if she had vomited as fluid was coming out of her mouth. He said he knew she was dead at this time. He stated that he did not essay her before her death, but did afterwards. He pulled down her denims and panties and then digitally essayed her. He said at that point he became excited and touched his privates to her privates and said he did not penetrate her. But the autopsy would prove that to be a lie, and it may have been a lie about him essaying her only after her death. He then broke that baby's bones in order to fit her inside of a duvet cover bag and carried her body to a field behind that factory. The autopsy would say that Courtney died from strangulation and or poisoning. The DNA of Morty was found in Courtney's privates. This tested positive for semen. The judge said that it was highly improbable that semen could enter her privates with fingers. It remains unclear if the penetration took place pre or post-mortem. Morty's DNA was found in Courtney's jeans, which were bloody at the crotch area, and a top which tested positive with Morty's DNA. Despite Morty saying it was not premeditated murder and that he had not Courtney, the judge believed otherwise. Morty was found guilty of the and premeditated murder of 3-year-old Courtney Pieters. The judge described Morty's crimes as lewd and selfish and the most vicious, vile, ruthless, and evil murder the court had ever seen. Morty was given 2 life sentences.
The accused is sentenced as follows. Number 1, in respect of count 1, that is, the accused is sentenced to life imprisonment. Number 2, in respect of murder, the accused is sentenced to life imprisonment. The 2 sentences are ordered to run consecutively. That's the end of the judgment.
Courtney's mother and father still visit her grave every year on her birthday. She's very missed by them. Rest in peace, little Courtney Pieters. Hey, you guys, before I leave, I just want to tell you, make sure you visit my other channel, Strange She Shed. It's a little different than I do over here because I get tired of all the seriousness of this channel. I just act kind of goofy on that channel, and I really enjoy it. And I hope that you will enjoy it too. It's just something I started just to get my mind off of true crime sometimes. So go check that out. Anyway, we love you. We appreciate y'all. And Simon wants to go do something. Oh, I'm going to leave you with a video. It's so funny. He got a new 4-wheeler. Oh, I said the word. Let me hold your ear. He got a new 4-wheeler. That didn't work. And he wants to go ride it. Oh, God. He got a new one of those things he loves. I'm not going to say it. And he's ready to go do that. If I say it, he's going to flip out. You're okay. You're okay. And Max likes his butt rubbed. Okay, you ready? Boom! Oh my God, I'm sorry. Bye, love y'all.